I know I'm kind of late to the party on this one, but I wanted to talk about Titan Solar, Sunpower, and like the hundreds of other solar companies that have went out of business, filed for bankruptcy over these last couple years. Now, I'll talk about Titan Solar here in just a second. Like, it's not really that surprising to me that that company went bankrupt. Again, I'll talk more on that here in just a second. But when it comes to SunPower, like, this is a big, huge deal. And I really wanted to just, like, when I heard about it, I wanted to just kind of like step back for a second to just kind of see how the dust was going to settle, because I was like, dude, there's no way that SunPower can file for bankruptcy. Like, the company, it's one of the oldest, like, well-known, most trusted, like, iconic US solar companies that's out there. And like, there's talks of it going bankrupt. Like, there's no way, like, somebody's going to come in, give them, maybe a cash injection, which was supposed to happen, which apparently might have not end up happening. But yeah, like, so I was paying attention to the stock. I started kind of paying attention to things, and probably in 2000 into 2023, 2022, as far as like what the stock price was looking like. And like, being in the solar industry and seeing like this trend of like an explosion and then kind of coming down and flatlining, and then kind of like a little mini bull run that we see right here, and then flatline, and then explosion again from 2020 to 2021, and kind of like a slow death all the way to 2020. Well, it's gone now, but when I saw this, I was like, okay, so this is the largest, most established solar company in the U.S., and I've talked to many solar installers that have sold SunPower solar panels, and like, when I came across solar companies, and for those of you that might not know, like, I have a marketing agency where I worked with many different kinds of local companies, HVAC companies, funeral homes, restaurants. Then I ended up kind of finding my niche within the solar industry, running Google ads, YouTube ads, TikTok, stuff like that. And I've had a chance to really get to know a lot of these smaller solar companies, medium-sized solar companies, and even kind of look underneath the hood of some of these larger multi-hundred-million-dollar solar companies, and kind of how things were ran, or at least kind of had an idea. And like, many times I would run across, solar installers from the Midwest to the East Coast, that are like good solar companies. And they would always talk so highly of SunPower solar panels. These are the best solar panels. We're an approved, we're an approved contractor. And I was like, okay, yeah, that's cool. And so knowing all those things, I know I kind of went on a little bit of a rant there, but knowing all those things and seeing kind of like where the stock was and the history of the stock, and where it's been, and looking at this $300 million investment that was coming from these, institutional investors, that they published this in February 2024. So I was like, all right, this is a sure bet. But then a couple months later, I saw that they put out this statement saying that beginning July 17th, 2024, SunPower will no longer be supporting new lease and PPA sales, nor shipment of project. Basically, like, hey, we're basically shutting everything down. Which, this initial investment was supposed to specifically go to their lease and PPA program. So that basically said that investment never ended up working out. Now, when it comes to Titan Solar, like, honestly, like, that wasn't so surprising to me, because, when my agency started to have a lot of success, especially between 2020 to 2021 is kind of when things took off, I had a lot of, reps reach out to me from that company. I think we may have even connected with that company at some point, but something just like didn't feel right. Like, they would always talk about how much they were selling the solar systems for, like how big their commissions were. And I was just like, I don't know, it just seems like they're too, like, talking about commissions way too much, and not really having any thought about like the homeowner necessarily. Which is crazy to me, because solar is such an amazing product. Like, it's so awesome. Like, it's the one product probably in existence to where like you can take advantage of that service or the product, and you don't have to put any money down or up front, and you can start reaping the benefits of solar power. Like, I'm not going to necessarily get into how all that works, but it's a great product. And it's just a shame that I kind of started to see how the industry was kind of unraveling through the intense interest rate environment, from the Fed and the inflation and everything. And really the conclusion that I got at the end of the day is like, you know what? Just because it's a large solar company, they've done maybe 10,000 installations, or maybe they're a publicly traded company, like that doesn't necessarily mean that the company is going to be around long enough to fulfill your 25-year, investment, or I should say the warranties. It's interesting because when transitioning your house to solar, you would think that, these larger solar companies, or maybe even a publicly traded company, would be a safer bet to, transition your home to solar with. But what I've seen is that, and if I was to, go solar right now, I would want to select a smaller, locally based solar company. What I mean by locally based, I mean like within a 50-mile radius, like a 50 to 100-mile radius. Not necessarily, I'm not saying that it's not, you don't want to go with like a larger multi-state solar company, but just me personally, like the way that I look at it is that solar company, as long as they've like been in business for 5 to 10 years, or maybe if they were founded in 2008, 2009, which a lot of solar companies started during that environment as well. But like if they've been in business, like I said, 5 to 10 years, they specifically serve that area, they've got good reviews online, like at least 4.6 on up. I mean, that's pretty good within the solar industry as far as reviews. But I mean, as long as they've got a local presence, because their identity and their livelihood really is focused around that local community, versus some of these larger multi-state solar installers or publicly traded solar installers. Like, you're just a number in their system. Like, I mean, yeah, some of them can be good. Like, I know there's some very good solar companies that are still out there, but that's just my perspective. You would think that, like, through an economic downturn, you would think that the larger solar companies would be the ones that would be able to stick it out. But it's almost seemed a little bit of the opposite is what we've seen, because, I'm still, I'm still running ads in my agency. Things are slower than they were. I would say probably towards the end of last year is when things kind of started to slow down. But really what I've noticed is that it's these smaller solar companies that haven't stopped their operations, that actually look at their books and pay attention to the finances, because that's really what it comes down to. It's like Sunpower, from what it sounds like, is that their books and like their internals were ran similar to like FTX or something. Like I think what happened is like I think the auditor or somebody in the financial department ended up like resigning, and then like things fell apart from there, because like, I mean, it's kind of hard to raise money if like your back end and your internals are just all over the place and there's no accountability on where money's going. Because I think that's pretty much what happened in Sunpower's case. Is maybe they got too big of a head and they just ended up spending all the money apparently and couldn't make it through a downturn, unfortunately, for all the homeowners that had to suffer from that. So anyways, that's all I've got. That's my take. Now, if you are a homeowner that's watching this video and you would like to get connected with a local solar installer, there's a link below in the description where you can fill out your information. Either me or somebody from my team will connect with you, help answer any questions that you might have, and get you connected with a local certified solar installer that checks all the boxes as far as like, certifications, video reviews. If you want to know more about how you can get connected with a company like that, again, click the link in the description or the button on this video. And yeah, that's all I got. I'll see you in the next video.